Hi, I'm Robert with the Gateway Gardener magazine. It's been a long hot summer here in St. Louis. We've just been through a couple of weeks of 100-degree plus temperatures and no rain in sight, but it's gotten back down into the 90s now, so it almost feels bearable, and I've decided to get out in the garden and see what I could do to kind of clean up some of the damage and do a little midsummer spruce up. Why don't you come along with me and I'll show you some real easy things that you can do to make your garden look a little bit better in the middle of the summer. First thing I'm going to do is deadhead some of these Shasta daisies. They just don't look very good, and the birds don't seem to be too interested in their seeds. By cleaning some of these off, it'll make the remaining blossoms look a lot nicer. Some perennials I don't like to deadhead because the birds do like the seeds. Coneflowers, daisies, black-eyed Susans, are just a few that I leave the seed heads on because they don't look that bad. They actually look kind of pretty, and the birds love the seeds. There, that looks a lot better. After the heat that we've had and the drought, there's bound to be some dead materials in your garden. No sense in letting them hang around. Might as well just get them out of there. These flocks aren't coming back. Seed heads on a lot of plants like daylilies, hostas, and this blackberry lily here aren't all that attractive, and you can cut those off. The hosta just cut right off at the base. There's still some blooms on this blackberry lily, so I'm going to cut these off. These are quite weedy, so you really want to get these off, otherwise you'll have these blackberry lilies all over your garden. While I'm at it, I think I'll take this scorched leaf off the hosta too. This home run rose is a mess after the Japanese beetles have chewed on it, and the sawfly larvae before that left a lacy kind of look on the leaves. So I'm going to prune back some of the spent flower buds and flower heads and some of the worst damaged leaves. Also might get rid of this clematis vine that's growing through here. We'll get that later. When you're pruning back roses, you want to prune them to an outward facing set of leaves, and one with at least 5 leaflets on it. I also like to prune off the seed heads on these hibiscus, Rose of Sharon, because they can be real weedy too, but it's still in flower, so I'm going to wait another few weeks and then get those. But you just want to make sure you get them pruned off before they turn brown and drop to the ground, because they can be a weedy mess. Some perennials, like this nepeta or catmint, can actually be pruned back in early summer or midsummer. It probably should have been done a few weeks ago, but didn't get around to it. But if you prune them back by even half or so, a lot of times they'll send out another set of blooms. So I like to use scissors for this job. Now here's something kind of interesting. Here's a purple coneflower, but you notice it's not very purple. It's got green blossoms and kind of funky stuff coming out of the cone. This coneflower is suffering from a disease called aster yellows. It's a virus-like disease, a phytoplasm actually, that's transferred by leaf-hopping insects. And there's no cure for it, and the only thing you really want to do with this is get it out of your garden as fast as you can, because the leaf hoppers will chew on this and then go to your healthy coneflowers and transfer it to them. So be sure and get rid of this. Throw it in the trash, don't throw it in the compost. Sad, but it's gotta happen. The rule of thumb for pruning spring flowering shrubs like this azalea is usually you don't want to prune them you want to prune them within 6 weeks after they finish blooming, so you don't prune off the flower heads for the next year. But this has got some wild hairs on it that I don't really like, and since I'm going to be just pruning selectively, you can really prune those off anytime, and I'll still be leaving plenty of flower buds for next year. The only thing you don't want to prune anytime, some people say July 15th, after July 15th, and some people say after August 15th, anytime before the end of July, you don't want to promote late growth in the season that will be tender and subject to winter damage. If you're growing hostas in St. Louis this summer, there's a good chance that a lot of yours will look like this. They're sun scorched. You can see half of these hostas here are in the sun and half are in the shade, and the ones that are in the sun are looking pretty bad. If they're scorched really bad, I don't know if I'd try and remove too much, because any amount of photosynthesis you can get is better than nothing. But in this case, there's still some good leaves underneath here. So I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit, remove some of these, and also remove some more of these seed heads. At least make it look a little bit better. Don't forget your containers. This coleus, sometimes the problem is too much growth. This coleus has gotten so big in here you can barely see St. Francis here, so I'm just going to prune this back a little bit and bring it back more into proportion. This hanging basket looked great about a month ago, but since then the heat and the drought have really taken its toll. The petunias are getting leggy, there's some dead material in here, some spent blooms that need to be pulled out, deadheaded. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. It may not look as great when I first finish, but it'll bounce back nicely, especially if I put some fertilizer in here. That's something else I want to remind people. Is by this time of the summer, even if you put a slow release fertilizer in your baskets or your containers that's advertised the last 3 or 4 months, with all the watering that they get, it's going to be pretty much gone by now. So you want to either go in and put some more slow release fertilizer in there, or start applying a water soluble fertilizer every couple of weeks, such as Miracle Grow or Schultz, and that will help them bounce back nicely. Well, that's it. I'm done for today. It may be cooler, but it's still pretty warm out here. But it only took an hour or two, and I think we got a lot done in the garden. It looks a lot better than it did a little while ago. I hope this has been helpful, and thanks for watching. This is the Gateway Gardener.